What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test and combo video for the Blue Eyes full powered Primite video that I showed you all the other day. So the idea behind this video is to show you what this deck can do on a randomized basis, doing a couple of test stands going first and a couple going second to show you the ideal out goal that you are looking to achieve with this deck. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. After a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so on one side, we've opened up our starters. On the other side, we've opened up our bricks. But now I'm about to show you exactly what you can do with this deck with this little investment, which is absolutely insane. Now, you've got to do the choice of your 1 or 2 starter, but the idea is that the barrel can lead you into the mausoleum, which will give you the ability for the additional normal summon of the Sage of Eyes Blue. So that's ignoring the fact that we've hard opened up this card. So rather than basically looking at it like, oh, well, you hard open up this card, that's how you're going to be able to continue your play, the barrel can lead you to that, which will also, with the ability of normal summoning Sage, get the exact same outcome. So what we'll do here is we'll start off by normal summoning down the barrel. We're going to use Barrel's effect on normal summon to set a Primite spell or trap from the deck. And the one you're going to want to go to, of course, will be the Lordy Load. You then activate the Lordy Load. This is going to allow you to add 1 card. Now, you have a couple of options here depending on how you want to do it. And what I mean by that is because the Blue Eyes Link monster tributes as cost, you have the ability to chain the Primite Roar, which will give you direct access to a Blue Eyes White Dragon directly from the deck. So it will allow you to extend your play in a little bit more of an aggressive manner. If you want to be a bit more defensive, you're going to go for the Drill Beam because the Drill Beam is going to be the one that's going to allow you to play even if your opponent clears your board off, because you will have that ability to get a Blue Eyes to the hand or the grave or just revive it in general. So we'll go for the Drill Beam just to guarantee that we've got it. And then what you do here is you would link off your Primite Ether Barrel, and this would then get you directly into your Spirit. In an ideal scenario, your Spirit would then, of course, search you out your Mausoleum of White, but because you already hard open it, you're going to activate the Mausoleum of White. Remember, you still have the secondary effect of the Lordy Load, but you don't want to be doing that just yet. You're going to activate the Mausoleum of White, targeting the Spirit with Eyes of Blue, which will allow you to send a Blue Eyes from the deck to the grave, and then increase the attack. The idea behind this is just to get Blue Eyes White Dragon to the graveyard so that your Spirit with Eyes of Blue has a target that it can tribute off to revive, which is really important. Now, because this locks us into only being able to special summon dragons while it's on the field, you want to make sure you tribute it off to get the Blue Eyes back from the graveyard, and straight away, you're now in a position of being able to utilize your cards a little bit more. Now, in a different scenario, you could very easily normal summon the Sage of Eyes of Blue, which will be where you'll be able to get a bit more advantage from it, and I'm going to show you exactly why you would do it that way instead. So you're going to normal summon down your Sage of Eyes of Blue. Keep in mind you can't special summon except dragons, but you can still normal summon anyway, and this is going to be your additional normal summon off of the back of the Mausoleum of White. You'll activate the Sage of Eyes of Blue's effect to allow you to grab a level 1 tuner, and that's going to be your Maiden of White. And you'll get the Maiden from the hand to the grave to set you up your True Light. And the reason you're going to do that is so that rather than doing what I showed you previously, where you just tribute off your Spirit to get your Blue Eyes back, we're actually going to be able to tribute off to get us more advantage. That was more so to show you how you can tribute this off to utilize the Primite Roar. So, you're now going to tribute off your Spirit with Eyes of Blue. This is going to allow you to revive the Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard. And in doing so, now that you're no longer Dragon Locked, you can actually bring back your Maiden of White, which is really, really good because you still have the secondary effect of the True Light if you want to. And it's up to you where you want to push. Of course, you do need to be a little bit careful and take into account if your opponent has a Nibiru. And that's where you're going to want to try and change up some of your strategies depending on where you want to take it. So keep that in mind. So what we'll do here is we'll use the Sage of Eyes of Blue and we'll use our Blue Eyes White Dragon. And this will then allow us to get into our first Spirit Dragon. Now, keep in mind, you still have the Neo Kaiser Seahorse. So as long as you control a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can special summon this card from the hand. And then you also get to target a light tuner you control, increase or decrease its level by 1. Now, that's going to be really important because that will actually allow you to trigger the Maiden in White, allowing you to bring back a Blue Eyes White Dragon or another tuner from the grave. So you actually got a lot of options you can go down that route. So maybe, rather than going into Spirit Dragon, trying to think how we can best advance this one. Because obviously you've got a couple of options here. Is you can use the True Light, but I'm trying to save that where it's all possible. I don't really want to use it until I absolutely know what I want to be going for. So we'll special summon down the Neo Kaiser Seahorse, and the reason that this being on the board is quite good is that plus a Blue Eyes will get you straight into a Crimson Dragon, which means you get to jump a step of the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which will give you the ability to kind of set up another form of negate a little bit later on. Now you can use the Neo Kaiser Seahorse to target the Maiden in White, and in doing so you can trigger the Maiden in White's effect. You would have to do that a little bit later on because you're going to need to get your Blue Eyes to the graveyard, which is really easily done because now we'll go with Sage of Visor Blue and Blue Eyes White Dragon to get us into our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. You're now going to be able to utilize the ability of the Neo Kaiser Seahorse to target the Maiden in White to increase or decrease its level. Now obviously you can't decrease it to a 0, but you can increase it to a 2. Now in doing so, what that's going to do is it's actually going to disrupt the ability to get you into Synchro level 9s because it will resolve. This just gives you the quick effect, especially on a Blue Eyes or a level 1 Light Tuner from the graveyard, which again is absolutely fine. So you're going to want to bring back your Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now what you do here is if you synchro off your Kaiser Seahorse and your Blue Eyes White Dragon, this will allow you to jump straight to a level 12, and the best level 12 that you can actually legally make will be your Crimson Dragon. And the reason it's good that you've jumped that capabilities is it means you didn't need to go into a second Spirit Dragon, which means you can keep a Spirit Dragon in your extra deck for further plays. So you can now use your Spirit Dragon's effect to tribute this off. This will then allow you to give you a level 12 monster, and you're going to want to go for your Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, because then you'll go Crimson Dragon, target off the Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit, put this back into the extra deck, and this will then summon out your Stardust, which means this won't get destroyed during the end phase, which is really important as well. So now you've still got the option here is you can activate the True Light. The only downside of activating the True Light is if you bring back the Blue Eyes White Dragon, you'll be going yourself into a... you'd probably be working your way into a Spheres, because obviously this isn't going to be much use to being a level 2 right now. That's not going to help you kind of progress your plays. You've also hard opened up the Synchro Rumbo, so you would still have a bit more hand advantage, because keep in mind, if you didn't hard open up the Mausoleum and you didn't hard open up the Synchro Rumbo, that would be 2 more additional cards you'd have in your hand to help you build this board. You've still also got the ability of the Primite Lordy Load, but you've got to remember as well that you won't be able to activate the effects of monsters for the rest of this turn, which is really, really important. Now, luckily, I believe the first time each card you control will be destroyed by battle, it's not an activated effect, which is actually quite useful. So it's up to you. Do you want to go, should we go for the True Light? I'm going to go for True Light. I'm actually going to set a trap card because then I will use the effect of Lordy Load, which will be quite helpful for us. So we'll use the True Light to set our Majesty of the White Dragon. And then what I'm going to do, just because I've adapted this level of the Maiden, is I'm going to turn the Maiden into our second Spirit with Eyes of Blue. And now, of course, what we can do is we can activate the Synchro Rumble to revive, but I don't think we need to. I'd much rather just use the Lordy Load's second effect to summon a second Blue Eyes from the deck. This will then put Blue Eyes back into this one. There we go, put Blue Eyes into rotation. And then you'd link off Spirit plus your Blue Eyes. Gets you into the Hieratic Seal. And then you can set your Drill Beam, and you're going to pass. So what you've got here is you've got your Stardust Dragon, which means that the first time either of these would be destroyed by battle or card effect, they're not. And then on top of that as well, if it is not once per turn during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you get to negate that effect, and if you do, destroy one card on the field. And then you can banish this card from the graveyard to summon back a Stardust, which we're not going to do. But the idea is this will negate, and then destroy a card on the field. This will then be able to non-target bounce. You've got your True Light to bring back your Blue Eyes White Dragon, which will then make your Primite Drill Beam live. You've also got your Majesty of the White Dragons to show up to 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons in the hand, face up monster zone and or graveyard, and then destroy equal numbers of your opponent's control. So that's going to allow you to destroy 2 more. So you've got 2 destructions off of this. You've got a negate and banish off of this. You've got a negate off of this, a negate and a destruction off of this, and then a non-target bounce off of this. And then, of course, you'll be able to bring back a Blue Eyes. So very good positions here. And if that wasn't enough, as this would come back to your turn, you'll be able to draw 1 more random card. Let's say we've used this as well. Then, of course, you'll have the ability to add back your Primite Dragon, which gives you another normal summon good to go. And then this one is during your main phase, if you try a Primite monster, you get to set this card back to the field, which is very easily done because you just go normal summon Beryl. Beryl will then set you a second Lordy Load, wherever it may be. There we go. Second Lordy Load. You'd activate the second Lordy Load. You then grab yourself another Primite. So you can either go for Primite Raw, or of course you can go for another Beryl, just to make sure you've got a Primite card in rotation. Then of course you get to reset the Drill Beam as if you needed it. And then of course you can activate the True Light again, because keeping in mind that we activated it during our first turn and then during our opponent's turn, so now it's refreshed. So we can activate this. We can set a spell or trap if we want to, or of course we can just revive Blue Eyes from the graveyard. And in doing something like that, you bring back a Blue Eyes, You can either keep them both on the board as aggressive outs, it's up to you. Or of course you can go into a monster negator. Or you can go into the brand new Indigo. And then Indigo can't attack directly unless it has a normal monster, which it will do. And then on top of that as well, if this is XYZ summons, you get to negate the effect of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. Detach material, target a normal monster in your graveyard or banishment and special summon it, which obviously at the moment we don't have one. So unless we detach material from it previously, it's still a 4K battle monster there, 35 there, 4K there, and then 16 there. So you should be able to very easily push through for game there. So that's a very basic kind of route of play. You kind of saw what happened when you open up both your starters in the form of Beryl. So even though both Beryl and Sage are on normal summon, the fact that Mausoleum gives you that extra normal summon means that you're always going to want to start with your Beryl. And then you work your way into the Sage off the back of that as well. So that's a very long first test stand, but I thought it would be important to kind of show you different route of plays, different options as well. And then there was a couple of plays that I thought I would change, hopefully making them for the better. So we're going to shuffle this up. We're going to do another test stand going first, and then we'll start doing ones going second. So you can see what happens with the 6th card and how aggressive you can be. So after another decent shuffle and a good old cut, our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, okay, I guess we're going Primite Turbo. Absolutely fine, because actually the Primite Roar is going to help us out on this one. We've got the Call by the Grave, we've got a Druid Swarm, and then of course we've got the Beryls. So we're going to activate the Primite Roar, pay 2,000, declare Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then because you control no monsters, you get to special summon that card, which is really important. And it means you've got the Primite Roar in the graveyard as a disruption. Okay, put that there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to normal summon down the Beryl. Beryl's effect will now trigger. This will allow us to grab ourselves our Lordy Load. There we go. Activate the Lordy Load. This is going to grab us our Drill Beam. And if you want to, you can very easily just make a rank 8 and pass, because you can just go a second effect to this, get you a rank 8, and then you're sitting on a Drill Beam. You've played under Nib. The rank 8 you'd kind of want to make sure you detach, otherwise you're not going to have a normal monster in the graveyard for the Primite Roar. We're not really going to be Synchro Summoning this turn, because obviously you need to get the Blue Eyes to the graveyard, but we can also get another Blue Eyes to the graveyard if you still want to use its effects, and I'm going to show you that now. So you'd put the Beryl into the Blue Eyes. This would then grab you Mausoleum. So grab yourself Mausoleum. There we go. Grab Mausoleum, activate Mausoleum, target this to send a Blue Eyes from deck to grave, which will be your second copy. There we go. And then tribute this off, bring back the Blue Eyes. Now obviously the next card we make will be our 5th summon, so that's where you need to make sure you're either going to go into the Galaxy if you're worried about Nibiru, or you go into Hope Harbinger if not. So this is going to be a very, very basic. If you do something like this, you're then setting Call by the Grave. You've got a light target in the graveyard for your Druid Swarm. You've got a Primite in the hand for the Drill Beam. You've got a Call by the Grave to deal with one of their cards, and then of course you've got the Monster Negate. So as soon as this negates, as long as your opponent has not already normal summoned, you've then still got the Primite Roar to deal with it as well. And then once this all comes back to you, the chances are, what you're going to be doing is, again, I'll play through this one just to show you. Draw a random card, Synchro Rumble, not ideal. That card is bricking me up more than not. Drill Beam was probably activated, which is absolutely fine. You would activate Druid Swarm, banish your Blue Eyes Spirit, bring this down. You've also got the ability of the Beryl to come back to your hand during the standby phase. You'll then be able to, during the main phase, go normal summon Beryl, grab your Lordy Load. There we go, grab the Lordy Load, and then because you control Primite, you can reset the Drill Beam. And then at the very least, what you've got here is you've got your Primite Beryl going in at 16, you've got your Galaxy at 25, you've got your Druid Swarm at 25. Unfortunately, if you did want to use the second effect of this one, it can special from the hand, deck, or graveyard, but it special summons them in defense. So even if you were to bring this back, the only thing you would be doing, and you'd probably want to do this as main phase 2, is unless you need to send one of your opponent's monsters to the grave, is you'd use both of these to go into Hieratic Seal, send your opponent's monsters to the graveyard off a Druid Swarm, and then you'd only be going in for 25 and 16. But the idea is, again, just because you've played that out, you've still got the Call by the Grave unless you used it on the previous turn. You've recycled the Drill Beam, so that's going to be another form of interruption because you still have the Beryl and the Beryl on the board. You've got a non-target of this, which will give you access to the Magnamut, which will give you direct access to your other dragons making your plays. You've still got a Monster Negate off of the back of your Galaxy Photon Lord. and then you're still in a good position to play off next turn if you need to. So again, very simplified, again, not the most ideal hand, but the idea of showing you these particular combos or these test hands is to show you what happens with a randomized basis. Because you'll be able to see 1,000,001 combos all online, which is like, this is what happens if you open up Sage, this is what happens if you open up Maiden. The question kind of comes down to what happens if you don't see either of them. So that's why the Primite version is quite cool, but is the fact of the matter is that when you add the Primite version to the deck, you increase your starter count from technically something like 6 being free Sage and free Maiden to 12 being, or technically 13 being, well, mainly probably more 12, being free Lordy Load, free Primite Beryl, free Sages and free Maidens. So, not to mention you've also got Wishes as well, so you've got loads of different options. We'll now go second. We'll see if our hand traps can put in work. I mean, we definitely play a lot of them. So, going second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, typical, our hand trap would be our 6th card. Also typical, how am I seeing Call by the Grave this consistently? Like, bruh, really? I don't even see it that consistently in anything else that I do. Anyway, so you'd activate Lordy Load. This is going to allow you to add a Primite card. Now we're going to want to go for the Beryl because, again, we don't have our main starter. So you go for Beryl. Normal the Beryl. Now, unfortunately, Beryl does set, so it is going to hard set the Drill Beam, which means you can't activate it this turn. But you're still going to be able to go, okay, cool, turn Beryl into Spirit. Spirit will grab Mausoleum. Wherever it may be, grab Mausoleum, activate Mausoleum. I could use the additional normal summon of the Master with Eyes of Blue, but not really worth it right now. So we'll use, we'll use Mausoleum of White. This will send the second Blue Eyes from deck to grave. There we go. Then you can use Spirit to tribute it off. Special summon back Blue Eyes, so we've got an Aggressor in rotation now. We've still got the additional normal of the Master. The only issue is, by using the additional normal with the Master, we don't have a level 1 Light Tune in the graveyard, so that's not ideal. You can shuffle it from the grave into the deck to target an effect monster you control and send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a Blue Eyes monster from the graveyard. But again, without using Lordy Load to get the second Blue Eyes on the board, we don't really have any monster to add to this, which is a bit disappointing, but that's kind of part and part of it. So you'd probably just attack with the Blue Eyes as it's stronger. Sync these two off into the Spirit Dragon. Set the Call by the Grave. You could use Master if you want to, but there probably really isn't much point. Past your opponent. During your opponent's turn, you can go Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which will allow you to tag out into your Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Keeping in mind it will get destroyed in the end phase. But you've also got Call by the Grave for your opponent that needs to deal with it. You've also got Drill Beam, because you can reveal the Blue Eyes in the hand. And you'll be able to recycle the Beryl. So, again, we'll play it for our opponent's turn. If they do get too big for their boots, you still have the Nibiru, you can slam down on them. But then this will get destroyed in the end phase. This will allow you to bring back your Spirit or a Blue Eyes. It really doesn't make much of a difference. You draw for turn. Come on, draw for turn. Effect Veiler, okay. During the standby, Beryl comes back to the hand. Normal summon Beryl. Get you another Lordy Load or a... you can very easily grab yourself a Primite Raw. Entirely up to you. And then during the main phase, you get to recycle the Drill Beam, which means you're going to add yourself another form of interruption. You just basically have endless grind game, which is what makes this deck really, really nice. If you want to, the Lordy Load can bring the Blue Eyes back from the graveyard. The only reason you'd do that, though, if you are going to make that play, is you'd bring this back from the graveyard and then go into a Spheres. But to be completely honest with you, what you'd be better off before you do that is you would turn the Primite Beryl into the Spirit. Spirit's effect, tribute it off, bring back Blue Eyes, because at least Blue Eyes comes back and attack. And then you would attack and attack, which is quite useful for you. And then worst case scenario, main phase 2, you can activate Lordy Load, special summon the Blue Eyes from the hand, and then you can overlay these into a rank 8. The only downside of doing something like this is if you do that, it now means your Drill Beam's offline because you don't have access to a vanilla to get it back to the board, or you're getting the Beryl back to the hand. So it can be quite risky if you want to do something like that, but you'd only be doing that is if you feel having the Monster Negate or the Spell and Trap Negate, the Spell Negate and the Hope Harbinger would be more effective for you. They've still got to deal with an Effect Veiler and a Nibiru, and if you want to get the Roar into the graveyard, you can do. You can still pay 2,000 life points. You just and then your normals won't be destroyed. You just won't be able to get access. You won't be able to get access to a free body on the board. So again, a bit of a weird hand, but just showing you that you can still do stuff with these weird hands. Like, you just have so much consistency to get to your starters. This is why I'm saying it's so important in this version at least. And I feel in other versions, that's where the Bingo Machine Go will come into play in place of stuff like the Lordy Loads and the Primites. So we're going to shuffle up. We'll do our final test down going first. I am hoping I don't see any of my one-offs because they have been in my hands like glue. So we'll do a final test down going second again, just to show you the aggression and the grind, I guess, is the best way to kind of display it. So we'll just do that. There we go. Just like doing that. Just feels so good with new sleeves. Anyway, shuffling up, cutting up, final test hand being 1. Well, I mean, that's a one-off. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a one-off and that's a one-off. What the hell? Still don't see any of my Blue Eye starters, which is absolutely crazy. But okay, let's see where we go for this one. So we go barrel, get access to load, activate load. I mean, usually to go drill beam, but I don't have access to. I don't have access to keep. I mean, I can get a Blue Eyes on the board. That's not an issue, so that I can make drill beam active. But I suppose what I can do here is I can actually show you how the Primite Raw can really help you out, actually. So turn barrel into spirit. Spirit will grab you mausoleum, wherever it may be. But it's right at the top of the deck. Yep. Grab your mausoleum. Activate mausoleum. Target Blue Eyes. Target the link monster. Send Blue Eyes from deck to grave. Use the effect to spirit, tribute its cost. Chain Primite Raw. Call 2k. Call Blue Eyes White Dragon. Gets you Blue Eyes on the board. Gets you Blue Eyes on the board. And this is before we've even used Lordy Load, if you want to get another Blue Eyes in rotation. But honestly, I think we can get... No, we can't even get 2 rank 8s, because obviously if you overlay them, you're not going to be able to get them any further to the board. I can get a Ball Drake to the board, but I'd probably much rather save that for my opponent's turn. I don't really want to use Roar of the Blue Eye just yet either, and I don't really want to overlay both of these. I suppose what you might need to do is you might need to do it a little bit of a different way. So the most impactful end board you could have is Hieratic Seals, and then you'd go Roar of the Blue Eye Dragons to bring one back, and then you'd use Primite Lordy Load to bring the other one back, and then you'd overlay both of these into the Galaxy Lord or the Hope Harbinger. In doing something like this, you'd then sit on the Imperm, you'd pass your opponent's turn, you'd still have Hieratic Seal, which you'd probably go for Magnamut, which is a non-target bounce. Then what you'd be doing is you'd be trying to negate a monster effect, which then leads you, if they normal summon, puts your Primite Raw back online, so you can activate that because you've got the Blue Eyes Engrave. They've then still got to play through an Imperm, a Ball Drake. The Ball Drake can send the Magnamut that you summon off the back of the Hieratic Seals. And then, on top of that, you've still got, as it comes back to your turn, so let's say let's just play it out. So, Spheres, Tribute, get you Magnamut. Magnamut's effect will search in the end phase. Let's say we went with the Galaxy Eyes, this is a lot easier to get a material detached. We then go end phase, resolve Magnamut, so add a dragon, so you can add Druid Swarm if you want to. What I do like, if I don't have access to a tuner, but I do have access to a Blue Eyes in rotation, would be the Neo Kaiser Seahorse, because then at least it's a dragon tuner that you can search, which can be quite helpful as a one-off. Obviously, if you just want to go Bestial Beatdown, then of course you'd go for Druid Swarm. So you do that, you'd shuffle up, we draw for turn, another barrel. Standby phase, the first barrel comes back to your hand. You can now normal summon down the barrel. This will allow you to grab one of your Lordy Loads, activate the Lordy Load, which will allow you to grab your Drill Beam. There we go, so you've got that interruption set up. You can get another Blue Eyes back in rotation, so you link off the barrel, go into Spirit, Spirit's effect, tribute off, get you your Blue Eyes. Special summon down the Kaiser. Kaiser can adapt its level down one, but that's not really going to help you too much. You also still have the ability of... Do we still have Master in this one? No, we don't have Master in this one. Sent from the field to the graveyard, send a Blue Eyes monster or a monster that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the graveyard except itself. I mean, that could be quite helpful to send Maiden in this scenario. The only issue is you would have to go... So you would synchro both of these to go here. And this is, like, I would still assume that even with Magnamut on the board, you can still, like, do something here. But the idea would be, this is just forceful. This is like, if you still feel that we're going to be going into the grind game, how would you circle back into it? Well, you'd do this. You'd use Kaiser Seahorse. You'd send the Maiden. I mean, if you activate the Lordy Load, which is absolutely fine. So we'll put the Crimson Dragon up in the extra monster zone, and then you'd activate Lordy Load to bring a Blue Eyes back. Now, keeping in mind, it only negates the monsters on the field. So you'd bring back your Blue Eyes White Dragon, which would trigger the Maiden in the graveyard to summon itself back. Then what you can do here is you can synchro both of these to go into a Spirit Dragon. You'd set the Drill Beam, and you'd pass. And again, you've just entered a very weird grind state. But the idea is, now that you've passed, your now effects are now back live. So you can then go, cool, Spirit Dragon, tag out, Crimson Dragon, tag out, both during your opponent's turn. You'd still have your Galaxy Photon Lord, which would be active, so you can negate off the back of that. You've got a negate here. You've got a negate and a pop here. You've got Drill Beam, which is active because you've got the barrel in the hand, which will obviously loop itself back around. Yeah, and you kind of move from there. It's a bit of weird hands, but the idea is the more and more you play this, the more and more you'll see these different lines. And it's quite crazy how resilient, like, the little starters can be. So... yeah, the Primite, the reason the Primite is so good is just for that all-out recursion. Like, the fact of the matter is, your starter gets recycled every single standby phase, and it's an Earth, so it can't be bestialed. That starter that recycles lets you recycle your Drill Beam, which is a banish negation, which also gives you direct access to your Lordy Load, and the more kind of cards we get for Primites in the future, it's just going to make it even more consistent, even more crazy, which is just... yeah, wild to even consider or think of how mad this deck can get. And it's kind of cool that Kaiba gets this treatment. Please, let's see Yugi get this treatment. I would love to see a Dark Magician version update of like on the same level of this deck. Would be really, really kind of cool. Anyway, hope this has been informative. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them as always. But for now, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.